Hello, everybody. This is Solomon at WorldView with my friend here, Hauta Komani. If you don't know Hauta Komani, you don't know nothing. Tsebe Matsiwa is going to join us. Hopefully, if Eskom allows him to join us. We're sorry that we're starting this show a bit late today, being in different time zones and running stuff. But we this is a very rare late start. I hope. But we're coming to here to discuss South Africa. Many of you, hopefully, who will be joining us in the next few minutes, will be part of this conversation. Tell us what you think. How the South Africa? When you look at South Africa from far away, it increasingly looks like like a perforated bucket, like a bucket with lots and lots and lots and lots of holes. You can't even keep a drop of water in there because it'll just fall out. What's going on? I mean, like Gauteng, Palazzi, okay, Assis now she wants to be the leader of the DA, the coalition partners, the ANC, what's Begatin Mackenzie's party, the DA, Action SA, all these guys are throwing mud at each other. Where are we going? And then the ANC is coming up with Mbalula, that makes the fix all or fix nothing, coming to say to the world or to South Africans, yeah, we're going to have we're going to fix this thing within 12 months, of course, before the elections. I know that the National Parliament was supposed to be discussing today whether or not there will be a state of disaster. What do you make of all this stuff? Where do we start? Or how do you start fixing this stuff?
Let's not start by fixing. Let's describe it first. Let's describe the environment.
Okay.
It's an environment fraught with danger, immorality, corruption, criminality. Our politics, it's rigged. It's rotten to the core. What is happening now? You see the criminality, the immoral values, the values that are not consonant with the constitution,
Right.
coming forth. What is happening today is in South Africa. We are in a leadership crisis where now corruption rules. Let's not beat about the bush. The institutions of state were collapsed some time ago. From 10 years ago, they've not been functional.
No, more
Now
than
you
10.
see,
More than 10
yeah,
years
more
ago,
than 10.
even 20 years ago. Yeah.
Well. The assault on institutions started 10 years ago.
No, Howda, I disagree with you. When David Thabo Mbeki fired a respected national director of public prosecutions, it was in around 2008. 2008. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
when he was the first post-apartheid government for president to disrespect the criminal justice system, when he undermined a Chapter 9 institution to save his body from arrest, when evidence was given to him that his body was captured by the underworld and he was corrupt, that was the beginning of the assault on the institutions, not 12 years ago. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you say beginning. Yeah, that was beginning.
Yes.
So yes. It has been deteriorating incrementally every year. It's not, I mean, 2008 wasn't like this. We still had institutions. We still had the NPA, Scorpions. The executive was working. We had a surplus in the fiscus. We had
what year was it? What year was it? When
2008.
Yes,
2008.
Correct.
Yes,
correct.
2008.
Yeah.
We had the Scorpions. They were making arrests. Even Kgalema Motlanthe at the time said, no, he doesn't like the Hollywood style arrest of prominent people like Zuma.
Kgalema Motlanthe oversaw he gave them the last kick in the butt, the Scorpions. He's the one who made sure.
He signed.
Yeah. He was deputy president.
Mbalula was leading the assault. Remember? Leading the assault on the NPA.
Yeah, but
pretending to consult the public about the legislation that was going to kill this.
We know how it works. Once those 4,000 or so people who gather at ANC conferences decide this is how it's going to run, the rest of South Africa has no power to go against them. They decided that they didn't want the Scorpions, and Kgalema Motlanthe was given the job to go and make sure it happens. He had a choice. We could have said no. It's in the same way that Ramaphosa, and this is the only place where I give him credit. It is in the same way that when they decided that the South African Reserve Bank must be nationalized, he pushed back because he didn't think it was a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't know how long he can keep pushing back on that one. Kgalema Motlanthe could have done the same with the Scorpios. He didn't.
Yes. He didn't. I think he genuinely believed that Thabo Mbeki was using the Scorpions to settle political scores, to keep the men of the people, the men of the poor, Zuma, out of a job that was destined for him, divinely appointed to be president of the republic. Kgalema genuinely believed it. I mean, he was terribly misinformed, and we can see with his posture after deputizing for Zuma for about 5 years that he has changed. He has seen the Damascus route. Now, that sadly, South Africans have not been seeing the decline. Many people didn't believe for a time. I mean, we established COPE as a counterweight to ANC. I was part of those who formed COPE.
I didn't know that.
Believe it.
Yeah, I believe it.
Quite a lot of people believe that we were just bitter. We didn't like this poor man of the people whom Mbeki was keeping out of the job that was God appointed him for. I mean, people called him Jesus.
Okay, tell me. Let's talk about this. Why? What made you guys establish COPE?
Because we saw. Remember, I was a public servant and a lawyer, and I was in the policy units of the ANC in the Northwest. I saw the signs of criminality coming over. I saw the mafia far away. When they were, Zuma was given the first financial support by Shabir to build Nkandla. And I could see the assault on the NPA by Mbalula, the ANC, that section of the ANC, the Zuma group. It was all clear. Clear.
But the establishment of COPE, when was it decided? Was it decided soon after Mbeki was fired, or before COPE was even before Mbeki even went?
It was formed in 2008, before he was fired.
Before he went
he was fired, yes.
Before he went to Polokwane.
No, after Polokwane. Polokwane was 2007.
Well, let me tell you this. So a friend of mine who is dead now, and the ANC people will know him, was Mbeki's spy guy. Okay. Yeah. And
from the
people know
Transkei.
him. They were he's from Cape Town. His surname is Solomons. People know him. He has different names, but he was trained in the Soviet Union. He's the one who gave the arms deal file to Patricia de Lille. That guy worked for Mbeki. He was my friend. We met by accident through our kids. Our kids used to play together. And then the parents met and we became friends. We became very good friends. Through him, I got a lot of stuff. Now, to cut the long story short, he was in Polokwane with Mbeki. And he sent me a text from Polokwane and said, okay, the chief says we must go ahead and form a new party. He sent me that message. And the understanding for Polokwane, you will remember, because I think you from what you're saying, you played a role there. Mbeki went to Polokwane thinking he was going to win because people around him made him think he was going to win. But the voting system was rigged before the elections happened. Okay.
Yes.
You will remember that the first 2 days of Polokwane, Musuwaluko was still chairman of the ANC. He was pushing back against Malema, ANC Youth League, Vavi, Kosatu, and the Bladen Zaman, the SACP. They were insisting that the votes must be counted manually, because somebody whispered in their ears that there was going to be trouble if they used the system. And Musuwaluko was trying to convince them to accept that the system is a simple one, it's going to make everything quick and all that. But they won the battle of how the votes were going to win. And that's when Mbeki lost, because they knew that, look, Zuma, I remember he had been fired, he came back and he was very much charged. Mbeki and his people knew that there was a chance Zuma would win. But then they thought they would play the numbers and give Mbeki a victory of 200-300 votes to make it convincing. But Mbeki, I mean, you could see his face when the results were announced, and that's when this message came to say we're going ahead, we're setting it. So I believe those people like you, JJ Tabani, others who said no, Mbeki was behind this. There's no way that all those guys were so close to Mbeki would go off and start a new political party without his blessing. All those guys who started COPE were very, very close to Mbeki.
Yes, yes. Well, anecdotal evidence shows that Mbeki was supportive, at least, of the formation of COPE. Well, it's anecdotal. He never said anything. JJ Taban said, yes, Mbeki was behind it. And Mbeki never refuted it, as is his manner. He always talks about himself. I believe so because even when we were meeting at Sandton Convention Center on the 2nd of November 2008, there was rumor that he was somewhere in the building.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
And people who were very close to him supported us, like Pumzile Mulambonguka, Sakima Kozoma, people with big money. And for between the period, December and March, the ANC was confused and was worried that we had big money behind us. I mean, Sakima Kozoma was vice president of Standard Bank.
Right.
There was a goodwill towards COPE from inside the ANC, from top people in the African National Congress. But for Shilowa now to challenge Lekota,
what went into his head? Why did he do that? Right. Why did Shilowa do that?
And you don't do such a thing. Why do you do that thing in the middle of a crucial election campaign? It was totally counterintuitive. Nobody does that. You have to show a united face as you go to elections. You don't start saying I want to be president, and you are vice president. Imagine vice president. It's a top job.
Right.
You deputize for the president, but he behaved like nobody would behave that way.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, he was also close to Mbeki.
Sworn enemies.
Yeah. Why didn't Mbeki put him to the side and say, dude, come on, what are you doing? Just stop this. Mbeki never did that. Or there's no evidence that he did.
We don't know.
So I see people on the group.
I was busy with I was election manager of COPE in the Northwest. Writing business plans, trying to get people like Herman Mashaba to support us with finance and some mining companies, people that are knowing the mining company, CEOs of mining companies. Who I had gone to school with, whom I knew commanded a lot of money to support us. But the Shilowa factor
messed up really big time. It's almost like he came in the middle of a birthday party, stood on the table and peed on the birthday cake. That's what he did.
Yes. Punched the host in the face.
Yeah, so the gentleman I mentioned, his name was Hassan Solomon. Look, I met him with this guy many times in very specific places that he chose to, because he was an amazing purveyor of news. This guy knew everything about what was going on in South Africa. He was very close to Mbeki. I know they called him the chief.
Yeah.
They called him King. And people who were listening who might know him. But the things COPE was, I mean, I see the excitement. There was a lot of excitement about COPE. And I remember the launch that you mentioned in Joburg. People believed that it was going to be, and I see people in the group, in the chat here, saying COPE could certainly have been a better official opposition than the DA. That's Patrick Vianello. And Munchar says that's very interesting. Did you approach Patrice Motsepe as he doesn't only give money to the ANC? Munchar wants to know. Was Motsepe going to fund this thing?
No, I don't think so.
Why not? Why would he not fund it? Was he not close to Mbeki?
He was close to everybody, but we didn't think about him. He didn't put his best foot forward.
Right. But the ANC was very scared when COPE was launched. Before
it was
what's his name? Bazima came to pee on the cake. Everybody was excited about COPE. Nobody can deny that.
Yes. And I was very close to quite a lot of people, top people in the ANC. And when I sent them SMSs that I'm joining Lekota, I didn't get any discouragement from very top people in some of the ministers, premiers. They were said, "Go ahead," or "We'll miss you, comrade." Somebody would say it was it's regrettable that we have come to this, but we understand, comrade. We have been with you, and we know you are a good man. But go ahead.
Okay.
We had all the blessings.
Yeah.
Blessings
Yeah.
from very senior people in the African National Congress. So it had all the blessings, but for Shilowa, and which leads us to, can we form another coup now? Can
All right,
another coup
before you go to another coup, so there was this spat recently between JJ Tabani and Trevor Manuel. Trevor Manuel doesn't seem to want to be associated with the formation of COPE. Why? I mean, he was also very close to Becky. Surely he knew about COPE. Surely he was behind. What was his attitude then when COPE was started?
No, he never said anything. He continued to serve under Zuma. He resigned, like
Yeah, I remember.
a number
And
of
the,
people. And then after a few days, he was back, appointed the
yeah, because the
chairman.
rand took a dip, right? Poof. And then they called him back. The market reacted badly to Trevor Noah leaving. What's his name?
Manuel,
Trevor
yeah.
Manuel. What am I saying? Trevor Manuel leaving. There was a very negative reaction by the markets, and within a few days, as you say, he came back, and things kind of stabilized again.
The ANC, even the Zuma people were quite sensitive to the markets. It is not the type of the ANC that we have today. They were quite sensitive, and I think state capture was not yet then. The ANC has still had very good people inside, and they brought him back. They wanted unity. They wanted the Mbeki group to support Zuma, so they brought him back, and Craven Gordon stayed. A few others very close to Mbeki states in order to stabilize the government, not to cause the ructions, not to. Remember, there was no talk of white monopoly capital then.
Yeah, it was before. Those were what's it? Agency from Britain.
Bell Pottinger.
Yeah, those were pre-Bell Pottinger days. Okay, let's fast forward to today. I mean, all that stuff happened, and this could have happened. It didn't happen. This could have happened. Becky, sort of Zuma happened, and he led to the wrecking devastation of South Africa's institutions. Even today, some of them are yet to stand up on their feet again because Ramaphosa came after Zuma with all the promises, and many people supported him because they remembered him as this dude who could have been president after Mandela, that apparently Mandela would have wanted to be succeeded by. He didn't. So we had this romantic image of Ramaphosa, who was the man who, together with the other gentleman from the National Party, they oversaw Ruth Meyer. They oversaw the development of the new constitution that was finally promulgated in 2006. And he was this respectable man who spoke well. He speaks well still today. He speaks well. He's charming. It's very hard to hate Ramaphosa. He's the kind of guy you just want to like, right? But the thing is, it's not enough. He is a president of a country that is in pain, and he promised. He was, invited and introduced as the last hope for South Africa. But even some of the people I respected, some of them don't talk to me anymore because I said to them, "You're talking nonsense. This guy is not going to do anything. Look at where we are at now." So now, okay, we are in the coalition era. People forget that Helen Zille was probably the first South African politician to say, "I see an era of coalitions, big coalitions coming to South Africa. This is where we're going." She was right. I don't remember anybody else putting it as well as we did. I need to Google that space. So we are now in the era of coalitions, and it seems now like it's no longer about what South African residents or voters want. It's about what deal they can get, they can agree on after the elections. They go to elections and say, "Okay, you got how many seats? You got how many seats? Okay, we need these seats to do this over there, to make that decision over there. We'll give you that position. What position? No, I don't want that position. I want that." This is where we are at. There's no discussion about what is good for the voters. So what is this saying for 2024?
It said, which says that the politics have been financialized and criminalized. State capture is in full force. The parties have been captured by certain interests which are not in consonance with the national interest. It is the culmination of years of the criminal assault on institutions of state. The generation that is coming up now didn't grow up in apartheid. They don't have the values of the values that are enshrined in the preamble of the Constitution: a united, non-racial, non-sexist, prosperous, democratic South Africa. You know, the Malema generation was raised on a diet of conflict, personal interest, factionalism, cruelty, the assault on the careers of colleagues. It is that generation now that knows nothing except the politics of resentment.
So it's also like it's our time to eat, right? It's our time to eat. Everybody's waiting their turn.
Yes, it's this era of materialism. Every dog for the what do you call it? Everyone for themselves. Everyone for themselves.
Dog eats dog. Yeah.
Dog is dog. Now it's a generation that is it's here, and it's the generation of Bell Pottinger. It's a generation of black majoritarianism that was introduced after Zuma came in. Black majoritarianism is not a generation that understands the non-racialism of pre-1994, of the Mbeki and the Mandela eras. These people use blackness as a weapon. They weaponize race for them to eat. And the truth is something that they hate.
But I think that, I think that Mandela was the one president after apartheid who was very strong on the need for South Africans to hold hands and work together, no matter what. Of course, we had to talk about the differences. Of course, we needed to deal with the legacy issues. He didn't deny that. But in those early days, when we had just crossed over from apartheid into the new era, South Africa needed a leader who could hold it together in a difficult diversity sometimes, right? And I don't think that when Mandela left, even Mbeki, there wasn't Mbeki 1 and Mbeki 2. Mbeki 1 is the one who came with, I am an African, wada, promise and all that. But there was a problem with Mbeki 2, who was it's almost like he was paranoid. And he was described in many instances as very paranoid. And he had this kitchen cabinet. I mean, I was surprised that he had never met Zweli Nzimavavi on a one-on-one. He had never met Tony Leon, who was the head of the leader of the main opposition party in South Africa. I mean, Mandela met these people. So as a president, surely you need to be accessible to these people. You don't have to agree with them, but given the kind of society that we are, you needed to make everybody believe that even though we don't agree on many of the house, we needed to stay together and get this thing done together. And maybe it's almost like should be a condition that if you become president of a country as diverse as South Africa, you have to hold this country together. And it's in the Constitution, but people don't.
Well, I agree to an extent, but you should understand that Mbeki was the administrative head, was not only the deputy president, but he wrote the speeches, the important speeches of Mandela, the important reports to the ANC. In 1997, I could see his writing style in all the major documents, in the policy documents, in the reports. In fact, when you quote Mandela, you're actually quoting Thabo Mbeki. He's the one who wrote those speeches.
No. But I mean, look, come on. Wait a minute. He might have written the speechwriter doesn't impose speeches on the person who presents the speeches. Mandela could have said, "No, I don't want this. I don't want it." He was not like a puppet that you remote control like that. So Mandela also spoke. When Mandela spoke, you could also see this is Mandela speaking. When Mbeki spoke, this is Zuma Mbeki speaking. The styles were very distinct. I mean, you might have written that he oversaw it much of the
transformation
of the administration during Mandela. Mandela even said it so himself. But I don't think it was Mbeki's idea, for instance, that Mandela decided to go and have coffee with Betsy Verwoerd. It
Oh,
was
no,
not
no.
Mbeki's idea that Mandela said to the Chinese, go to hell, when they said, you can't invite the Dalai Lama here. He said, I'm going to do it. Mbeki refused to meet the Dalai Lama, as a matter of fact, under pressure by the Chinese.
Well, I don't know. It's Khalima who refused. But what
No,
is
no, 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 no,
important?
no, no. I know the story. I met the Dalai Lama. I was the MC at an event in Cape Town at the World Conference for World Festival for Sacred Music.
Oh, I'm mistaken for
Mbeki,
the second visit. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So during the post-apartheid era, the Dalai Lama came twice to South Africa. The first time he was invited by Mandela against Chinese, pushing that he mustn't do so. The second time when he came, it was at that festival, and I introduced him to the crowd, and I spoke to him. Mbeki never met him. So the Chinese said, this is not the first time they're doing it. They've done it in other countries as well. They said, fine, if he comes, don't meet him. So we don't want official pictures of you in the papers with him. So Mbeki was in the country. He got busy. He didn't meet the Dalai Lama. The third time the Dalai Lama wanted to come to South Africa, Motlanthe was president. That's when they frustrated his visa application. He was coming to South Africa for Tutu's birthday. Remember, Tutu said, I'm not going to vote. As a result, when he was angry. The fourth time was when he was invited by Patricia de Lille, who was mayor of Cape Town. He was going to attend a meeting of the elders. So on two occasions, under Motlanthe and Zuma, the Dalai Lama was refused entry to South Africa. His application was frustrated. He only came twice. The only president who met him was Mandela after apartheid ended.
Yeah, I could believe it. But what I wanted to put across is that Mandela was a ceremonial president. Although he's executive president, but he was more ceremonial. Okay. It was a decision of the African National Congress that he should go out and woo especially white people. Try to speak to those who are leaving the country. Try to push the reconciliation and nation building thing. And then Mbeki would be the de facto president who would oversee the restructuring and transformation of the public service, the Escoms, the Transnets, and all that, RASA. And I was part of the ANC machinery in the Northwest. We were very, very busy. We were very, very busy with administration, putting things together, trying to build a new public service. And we were succeeding on many fronts until the Zuma group happened. Now, here we are.
Now, let's talk about Johannesburg last week. What do you think happened? How do you make sense? How it got. I interviewed Hamed Mashaba the same evening after when he came back home from getting rid of Palazzi, and obviously he was pained because, it's amazing. Action SA did everything. I believe him. They did everything to prevent the ANC from coming back. They had 3 seats in the mayoral committee of Joburg. They offered 2 of them to get in McKenzie to appease him. And apparently, and we insisted on which ones, and apparently, that's Mashaba's version, of course. The DA scuppered that deal. Now I see that I thought she was going to join Action SA. I asked him about it. He said, no, I don't think so. But if she comes, we'll join him. If you come, we'll join him. We'll accept you rather. So what do you see happening there going forward? Now there's this young Al-Jamad gentleman. I don't see very good things being said about him.
It's sad what is happening to Gauteng metros. It's the same thing. The parties want all these minority parties, except the Action SA, they were using the DA to try to get into positions of the executive, the mayoral committee. They know that the ANC wouldn't offer them as much as the DA would, because the DA doesn't have all those numbers. Now, the DA would be beholden to them, would be indebted to these smaller parties, and they would be able to threaten the DA. Remember, McKenzie has been threatening the DA for months. He's there all over TikTok saying, yeah, I'm going to deal with them. I'm going to remove them. It's all about positions, and it's positions. Malema said so. It's about positions. It's not about any ideological differences. It's not that the budget is anti-poor, or they're fighting for this project in Soweto of the poor, or the removal of poor people from land. It's nothing like the DA didn't do anything of the sort. And DA is not. I mean, this local government has not been there for long. It's just a year old. The budget is still
Okay,
new.
look, but look, my lemma, so the Action SA and the DA are telling us two conflicting truths, as it were. Which one do
Yeah,
you believe?
I believe. I believe
Mm-hmm,
Herman's version.
mm-hmm,
It makes more sense. You know, the DA is sort of. It's very unreasonable. It's posture towards Herman Mashaba is very unreasonable. They expect Herman never to disagree with them anyway.
mm-hmm,
Herman shouldn't come with any counter strategy. I mean,
mm-hmm,
what the Action SA was trying to do was a decision for expedience. You know, DA says no, we don't care about expediency. What we put principle first.
mm-hmm,
What principle is there? I
mm-hmm,
mean, in coalition politics, we bring our own different values to the table. There's no way in which anybody would be entitled to say my values are better than yours. This is the SAA and DA differ only tactically how to
mm-hmm,
treat the coalition partners, the irascible and the irresponsible partners. How do you
mm-hmm,
deal with them for the sake of government, not for the
mm-hmm,
sake of the party? These are
mm-hmm.
small ones
Well,
work for the sake of the party. But
no.
SNSA and DA, I think they're joined on the hip. They are at the hip. They are not ideologically different. These are center right
Mm-hmm,
parties, liberal parties.
mm-hmm.
Absolutely no difference. No, absolutely
Well, I
no difference.
mean, but I've spoken to my Shaba many times. I've spoken to DA people. I think when I speak to my Shaba, I sense a lot more anger in him than I do in the DA people. He's very angry at the DA, and I think perhaps he should tone it down a little bit and find ways to work with them, not for the government, but for governance for South Africa, for the people of South Africa. Because many people say, and I believe that there could be amazing potential in some kind of coalition between the DA and Action SA, but those guys have to meet each other at here first, because I think Mashaba has a sense that he's been betrayed too many times by the DA. They've said stuff to him. They say one thing, they turn around and do something else. I see Andrew McFarlane says he doesn't believe Mashaba. He was skirting the critical aspects of principled coalition partners. Says your word is a word, and Action SA is trying to secure points. I don't know. I don't think I don't think anyone is entirely correct or entirely wrong. The truth is somewhere out there in between all of them. I mean, what do you think?
We need the Mandela de Klerk kind of rapport, where you try to see the good in the other,
Mm-hmm,
because for the sake of the country, you know that if the two of you don't meet, don't present a united face, you
mm-hmm,
don't speak the same language, even if you differ,
mm-hmm.
be mature enough to show that we differ, but we are still working together.
Right.
John and Herman need to come to that stage that no, I don't like this about the DA, but I'm going to support them.
Mm-hmm,
I don't like it the way they treat so and so, but I'm going to support them.
mm-hmm,
So, but I think the DA is very much frightened of the Action SA, because Action SA has been taking prominent back leaders from the
mm-hmm,
DA, and remember the DA also is now beginning to tell lies about Herman. Remember the Krugersdorp West rape situation.
mm-hmm,
Somebody in the DA wrote a statement on behalf of John,
mm-hmm,
blaming Herman for that. And then what came out was that it was untrue. Herman was not behind the assault on the Zamazamas.
mm-hmm.
In so I sense a frustration and desperation on the side of the DA, or some members of the DA,
Mm-hmm.
particularly Helen Zille.
Mm-hmm.
She's beginning to lose. I mean, there's a video where she says, "We engineered with together with the ANC
Mm-hmm.
the emotion of no confidence
Right,
on Herman."
right, right.
Why do you
I
say
remember
such
I
a
saw
thing?
that. So
Yeah,
if you were to get the two into a room, what would you say to them?
I'd say tone it down, guys.
Mm-hmm,
The stakes are too high, higher than yourselves, higher than the DA, higher than the Action SA. You are twins, you are brothers, work together and show them how de Klerk and Mandela had to work together until at a point de Klerk decided, no, for the sake of the country going forward, I'm going to kill the National Party. I'm going to withdraw from the cabinet to allow the ANC to adopt the right policies that it wants. I don't want to be blamed for the failure of the ANC. Let me not disturb the ANC. Let me take the National Party out of cabinet. Even if they had 3 years to run, the cabinet had 3 years to run until 1999. But in 96, they withdrew. So you need men who would be smaller than the government, would be smaller than the state, because we have here something bigger than the DA and the Action SA together. Something's far bigger.
I like what you're saying. Somebody who will be smaller than the state, who must agree to be smaller, or who must acknowledge that actually smaller than what's going on, right? But Houter, I think what needs to happen, and that doesn't seem to be happening. Hopefully it is, but I don't see anything. There's got to be an agreement, a clear agreement on how they're going to work together, whether it's this coalition or other coalitions. They have to do this before the elections. It seems to me that these things get put together with everybody saying, okay, I've got this much, you've got too much, how much you want, how much you want. They have to take out as much emotion from this as possible and put the interests of the country first. And I honestly don't see them doing that. It's all about egos, big egos.
Yeah, and not only egos, there's a sense of inadequacy. Somebody feels inadequate and doesn't trust some people in either party. There are people in the DA who don't trust certain people in the Action SA, not necessarily Herman.
Right.
And there are people in Herman's party who don't trust some people who are powerful inside the DA. And Helen Zille, I'm afraid, I used to admire her. Well, I still do. Is a common denominator. I don't say she's the troublemaker, but she's one of those people who are difficult. Let me say, who make the marriage between the two difficult.
But you say she's a troublemaker. I mean, you can't say she's not a troublemaker and then describe her as a troublemaker. Dude, just say it.
I don't want to be sued.
Is she a troublemaker or not?
Yeah, but it's anecdotal. It's anecdotal because I'm not privy to what is discussed in Cape Town.
Right.
But some of these things come through, through the cracks. I wish I were a fly on the wall, but I'm outside the house. But some of these things, they escape. I mean, like that video. How would she go on public TV and say we engineered the downfall of Herman?
Yeah, it was stupid. It was stupid. There was no need for her to do that.
The ACNI.
I don't know what she was trying to achieve there. But then Palazzi, let's talk about Palazzi. Okay, she's been kicked out twice, and it's quite interesting because each time it seems like the DA said, no, you don't address this matter. We're going to address it. And she's respected that. When they said, tell us exactly what happened between you and the DA, she respected it before, I think. She respects it now. She says little things, but not very clear. Now she's going to stand against John Steenhuisen for the leadership of the DA. Do you think she would make a good leader for this party?
I don't know her that much, but the fact that the DA trusted her to be executive mayor, the most important city in Africa, tells me that she has the leadership skills, the temperament. I've never seen her angry or saying things out of turn or being egotistic. But as a leader, as a political leader, I think she can make it. She will make it, as long as, of course, if she starts campaigning on her gender and race, then I would know that this woman is no good. So
no, she mustn't do that.
As a black woman, we have suffered enough. I don't know anybody to say that.
Yeah, I get tired when people do that. They mustn't do that.
Yeah, but if she
must talk about her credentials and what she hopes to propose for the people of South Africa, for all the people of South Africa. I'm a black dude, therefore support me. Go to hell. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did I say go to hell? Sorry, I take it back.
No, you didn't.
But I mean, yeah.
Look, John Steenhuisen is good. She's got a reputation because the assault on the white male is sticks. against any white male.
Do you think do you think he should step aside? And I mean, okay, rather, what would you say if John was to say, you know what, for the sake of the DA, I'm going to step aside and let Palati lead the party, and I'm going to stand behind her when if she gets elected, or maybe then, I mean, she could do that, but then it becomes a shoe-in for Palati, and some people will not respect her, right? Maybe then she must stand for a contest and win a contest. I mean, those are the two ways I see this happening.
Yeah, standing aside prematurely would it'd be a wrong kind of affirmative action, you know.
Okay.
It's like give. I mean, why would you do that? I mean,
Okay.
I don't think it would be an intelligent thing to do. Wait until the Congress and say, okay, I'm not contesting. Something like that. But not
and anyway, I think there are other contestants for this position. Maybe there'll be one or two other names. I haven't seen any other names.
Solely,
the Pretoria guy.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he would raise his hand.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Let's see what happens.
But I don't see any other person. But Mbalintuli, I don't think she will stand.
Let's talk about Gayton McKenzie. What do you make of this fellow?
Gayton McKenzie is a maverick, malevolent. I don't want to use the words that Malema used, but he is malevolent and egotistic and unwilling to. I mean, look, he's out there to take power without really being responsible. He doesn't want to be part of a team. He wants to be the head of a team. He has got his own agenda. I don't want to say it's financial, but it comes out clear from his utterings, his tweets and his TikTok message that this guy wants power. He's a megalomaniac. And he's bad news. He's a tribal leader. He's a tribal leader. He's xenophobic openly.
So Andrew says he believes that Solim Simanga would stand a better chance against Palazzi. Do you think so?
I don't know. I put them on par, both of them. Yeah, they have got a good following. Both of them have support inside the DA. They're strong, and they don't have scandals, and they're not temperamental. They're emotionally mature. They can make good leaders. We need a good black leader at the liberal.
But I mean, the DA. I mean, I wrote an article last week, which was very well read around. It seems to be having, no matter what it does right, it seems like there are these showers. It's racist. It doesn't care about black people. It wants to bring back apartheid and all these things that get thrown at it. And sometimes I find that the DA is a bad communicator. I mean, for instance, today. What's his name? Fikile Mbalula said, well, when we, the ANC, were in power in Johannesburg, there were no potholes. It's the DA. I mean, like, hello. And the DA is not saying anything. I mean, because there are gullible people in South Africa who take this sort of lies and just walk with it. So the DA needs to do a better job defending its brand, explaining itself. Why are they not doing it?
Yes, this past few years, the DA has become mysteriously quiet on when they should speak, when they should defend themselves.
Right.
Now, you must understand that race has been weaponized a great deal in the post-Mbeki period. There's no way to which they escape it. It's if they don't communicate better than they're doing now. I mean, they're doing a very good job. Even ANC people, when they go to Cape Town, they say, "Yeah, in Cape Town, you feel there's a government here." But then the ANC machinery, the anti-white, anti-capitalist machinery, is hitting DA very badly, and with the likes of utterances like those of Helen Zille, not doing the DA much favor. they fall into that trap. And saying that we did, Mayman was an experiment. She shouldn't be saying such thing. I mean, she's a very intelligent woman. She built DA from 1% to 20%.
No, it's Tony Leon who said it was an experiment. I wonder what he meant by that. It's Tony Leon who said my money was a. Did he use the word experiment? Yeah, and it's a failed experiment.
The word experiment was there.
Yeah, and so obviously it gave the impression like you're doing the scientific test, or it's, in a laboratory, and oops, that one didn't work. That sample didn't work. Let's throw it away. Let's cast it aside. And there's the impression that, and I can understand the anger by many black people in South Africa. But what would it take us for? So I don't remember Tony apologizing for it, but he probably didn't mean it in that bad way. But that's how it came out. And perceptions do matter, right?
Yeah, he's an intelligent guy. He's an intellectual. So he plays around with English, and then lots of us don't understand this English. We don't even understand the background. We don't do research. We don't understand the policy of the DA or any political party. Many people don't understand. They don't read. Right. South Africa doesn't read. So, and they don't understand policies. Many people make up their minds on the basis of rumor, what they pick up on social media. Right. Because many people say DA is racist. Therefore, many people cannot be wrong.
So we know the majority is not always right. The majority is not always right. But tell me, okay, as a parting shot, I asked you earlier what you'd say to the DA and Action SA if we were to have them in one room. What would you say if you were to have a whole room filled with all the political parties in South Africa, including the ANC and EFF? What would you say to them ahead of next year?
You mean if I had all the parties?
Yeah, no. Forget the ANC. No, forget the ANC and EFF. You had all the other parties in the opposition, and they're trying to prepare for next year, 2024 elections, to get the ANC out of office. What would you say they should do?
I would be accompanied by Kgalema and Frank Chikane and Thabo Mbeki and say to them, guys, the country is collapsing. Stop looking at yourselves. We had this. We're at the crossroads in 1990, but we decided to leave the parochial interests at the door and went in. Even if there were crises all over the country, we patong, massacres, Mutubatuba, Natal was in flames, but we decided that we should go on a retreat, 3 days in Skukuza, remember, where the ANC and the NP managed to convince the IFP to come on board and sign and go to the elections, despite all those killings that Gacha Buthelezi had put at the feet.
But why would you take ANC leaders to meet other opposition? But it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, Becky, Mutlant, who's the third one? Why would you take ANC leaders to go? Yeah, where would you take ANC leaders to go and tell other South Africans? I mean, these guys are bathed, they grew up in the ANC, all they can preach is ANC. Why would I want to listen to them? I wouldn't want to listen. I mean, I don't forget the stuff they did to South Africa, the road that began with them. Why would you take them to go and tell opposition parties that are working to remove the ANC what to do? It doesn't make sense to me.
Steenhuisen and Herman Mashaba admire them, those three.
Yeah,
they said so openly. Now those are statesmen now. They've transcended. I mean,
they haven't. I'm sorry, they haven't. No, they haven't apologized. No, I'm sorry. The road started somewhere. These guys should stand up. My view, someone like Kgalema Motlanthe should stand up and said, I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry, South Africa. I shouldn't have done that. He hasn't. Okay, he comes with his gray beard and he walks around as a Sage. No.
Maybe he'll say that.
But we keep saying, black people keep saying this to white people. There's got to be acknowledgement. How do you forgive somebody who hasn't asked for forgiveness? That's what people keep saying. The same thing should apply to these black leaders who led to the road of South Africa. They must apologize, ask for forgiveness, and the people must decide whether they forgive. They can't just come up speaking better English with gray beards and gray hair and think that it's okay now to mess up stuff, go on the time and come back as a wise guy. Forget it. I'm sorry.
Well, as statesmen, I think they will own up
Yeah,
about the
Yoweri
mistakes.
Museveni is a statement. Mugabe was a statement. What is a statement? What does it mean by statement? What is a
No, not that
statement?
one, man.
What is a
The-
statement?
well, look, I would expect, I would, the lesson that they give to the DN and DA and the Action SA is that we made mistakes during the negotiations and post. We didn't believe the bona fides of the negotiating partner. But because the country's future is bigger than ourselves, at some point we decided no, let's just believe this other party. Like they said at the retreat in Skukuza in 1993, they said something Zulu. I forget what it was, but it said opening up your chest to the other person to say, I'm not a holy, and I did mistakes. Our people killed your people, and your people killed my people. Mandela said so. He said the IFP is killing our people. The
No, no, but
ANC is killing our people.
no, but
So
hold on. I hear you.
you
I
build
hear
trust that way.
all.
eh?
No, all South Africans came together, all sides, and said we can't. Nobody can. It's a stalemate. We need to work together. Let's to transcend from apartheid into to transition from apartheid to a new order. All everybody gave something and gained something from that. But what I'm talking about, you now howling Mutlante and Becky as people who have something to tell to South Africans. I don't believe so. They haven't recovered. They're ANC people. I've seen ANC veterans, even someone I like Mavuso Msimang, they will go on criticizing the ANC, and then just before the elections, they tell everybody to vote for the ANC. Okay? No, it's
Okay.
nonsense. I'm sorry. I'm not
No,
going
I
to
see.
listen to anybody who's going to pretend to be angry at the ANC, and then ahead of elections they tell everybody to vote for the ANC. That's nonsense, because
You
it means
make
that
me
they don't think South Africa can be led by anybody else other than the ANC, and that's BS.
you frighten me that we don't have role models. Would real Causa try to mediate a strategy? I mean, I don't think the Action SA and DA are sworn enemies to the extent ANC and the National Party were. They are not sworn enemies. They differ on tactics, and there's a sort of a developing mistrust among certain people in both political parties. They don't trust that other one. That other one did something to me while I was a member of the DA. Some grudges, childish grudges. But we need these two parties to work together.
Yeah,
As you
sure.
say, come up with an election pact before elections and come up with a common manifesto long before the elections and
Sure.
telling the people of South Africa what they are going to do as coalition partners. They should do it
Okay.
a year before.
Yeah, let me read some comments there. We're going to finish soon. It's 7:07. Your side will finish in the next few minutes. So Human says education and the ability to read versus Zulu. I will vote IFP, and Zuma was a better president than Ramaphosa. Without grassroots voter education, we will have a mess at it. It's very true. And Andrew says,
Very
Shirley,
true.
what is important is how to unite the public, all voters. Now they are far too fragmented, which is true. This is the reason why we have such poor politics, and Human agrees, etc., etc., etc. Okay, yeah. I mean, look, there's work to be done, and but the thing is,
I
these
agree.
discussions must not also be about what each one gets from it. They must be, as you said earlier, I really like what you said earlier about we need people who acknowledge their smallness vis-a-vis the bigger job that needs to be done to keep South Africa together. We have to keep the people of South Africa together. The world of South Africa lies in the diversity that we have, whether you like it or not. And when you have a leader who's not able to acknowledge that basic fact, we can never be the South Africa that we had potential to become. Never.
Yes, I agree. Unfortunately, we have an unsophisticated electorate. The electorate doesn't have time to read. I mean, somebody said this, the poor don't have time to study policy because they are busy trying to make a living. They're still they're busy chasing jobs and
Right.
small
Right.
businesses that are
Right.
failing to
Right.
concentrate on studying and reading and comparing policies. Only academics and a few people, even journalists don't get it in South Africa. The media is woefully uninformed and misinformed. And what about now the 10 million poor people who vote to the African National Congress?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, many people don't understand the difference between Action SA, ANC, and DA.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's sad. But anyway, Hauta Gumani, my good friend, I love you to bits. That let's do this again very soon. Let's see what things are going in South Africa. Let's call our friends there, Insidious, Auntie Mason, Moonchild, Andrew, Human. All you guys, thank you for joining this conversation. Thank you for your comments. Because it's thanks to your contribution to this discussion that we're able to see the blind spots and integrate elements into these discussions that matter to you guys. And we really appreciate you coming to join us in these discussions. Tepo wasn't able to join us today because of Eskom, apparently, and but we'll do it. We'll bring him back because he's an amazing contributor as well to this discussion. To these discussions. Thank you. And to Donald, behind this, we have my good partner, Donald, who is making sure that these things happen. He's the brain behind the administrative logistic, putting together all these invitations, getting people to participate. He's awesome. Donald, you are not always sufficiently celebrated. Thank you, my friend. And thank you to our audience out there. Thank you to Hauta. We'll do it again next week or the week after. So Lim Weng, I'm all the way in Geneva, Switzerland, but I'm connected.